Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome back to DevChatter. Hopefully you all had a fantastic weekend. We are here on Monday, May the 14th to write more code. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Brendan, and this here is DevChatter. So welcome. Hello Async Awake. Hello everyone else who's sitting around in chat. I noticed there are at least a good number of people that have come in already. As usual, I am going to take the first few minutes to do a bit of an intro, and that gives people time to show up as well, because we don't just want to jump into things, because then everybody's going to start asking the question of what happened in the beginning. Hype, hype, welcome Coated Beard. Welcome everybody. Okay, so let's go over a couple of things. So for anybody who doesn't know, on this channel, we have a few projects we're working on and a couple that we're planning on working on. But the main one that we do so far is our chatbot that we've been working on for a while now. And it does a few interesting things. So our chatbot runs as a .NET Core console application right now. Not because a console application is all that interesting, but because it really doesn't need to be anything more. Our chatbot is primarily controlled through the Twitch chat itself. So as you can probably see, it just said hello in chat as I just turned the bot on. So the bot does a couple of handy things. For example, I can have it tell you that all of our code is out on GitHub, and you can find repositories there for all the projects we work on stream. So any code you see on stream is going to get pushed out to that GitHub repository. Well, I should say one of the GitHub repositories that's there. Technicality. In addition to that, a number of us are over on our Discord, where we chat about the project a little bit. So if you are interested, check either of those out, and you can join us for some conversation. And for those of you that are wondering, what are we going to work on today? As I'm sure there are a couple people that are wondering what we're going to be working on. I alluded to it a little bit to some of the people that follow more closely on our Discord and Twitter and things like that we're going to be working on some stuff that's been sitting for a while. So the thing that we're going to work on is I want to tackle some of our old stuff. So either logging or dependency injection. Not our dependency injection we have in here, but we want to nice it up a little bit. So what's there today is just kind of just shoved in there because we're kind of like, yeah, that's we need to have it, but like, how nice do we actually want to get it? So what's there today is a manual registration of everything, and we could do a little bit more with it. So I want to do a couple of things. So we'll take a look at that one. The other thing that I was mentioning that we want to tackle is logging. So logging is a cross-cutting concern that we haven't really done much with yet, because we haven't really needed it all that much. We try to unit test things whenever we're tracking down an issue. So through that unit testing, we get a little bit of information. We try to make things a little bit nicer, and that's sort of what we've been using for that. But runtime diagnostics of what happened. So when the bot's running and we get a crash, we don't have much other than a stack trace right now. And it would be nice if we had a little bit more information, if we had some kind of logging so we could see what things the bot was doing, say, right before we got that stack trace. So that's why I want to kind of get some informational logging so that if we do run into any problems, we can look them up, figure out what they are. And I think that's going to be a fun thing to add into the bot, as it's something we all run into in our day-to-day coding. So let's see, I covered that. We have a pull request I want to look at, and actually we have a couple that I merged in that did get some reviews from other people. So I'm going to take a look at those, bring those up, and we can chat about them as well. Because I don't like not telling you guys about any pull requests we send in. So ones you saw. You saw the merging of the fixed currency bug that was on the last stream. TwitchLib, hello, welcome. What you guys didn't see, I think I did the quiz game merge after the stream was over. I'm not 100% on that one. But we did do this one together, so I'm not worried about really reviewing this too much, because we did this on stream. The one that I do want to point out is the TwitchLib upgrade. TwitchLib, I'm probably not going to log to the Discord channel. but I do want to connect the bot to the Discord channel. So we've got that started. That's actually the pull request that's sitting out there that I haven't done anything with yet, because there's a pretty significant can of worms that we open up when we add Discord as another chat client. In fact, even the other pull requests that came in, the feedback I'm going to give related to that one that we're going to talk about is that we haven't made consideration for what do we do when there are... And welcome, developers. For anybody that was lurking around in C# Fritz's stream still, if you are there, welcome. We're going to do some C# code. Hopefully you are looking forward to that, as you've been apparently lurking that chat since he was last live 2 days ago. So, welcome. I wasn't sure we were actually going to get that auto host to show up. I don't actually do the announcement, I think, unless you have probably around 5 viewers on an auto host. So, anyway, welcome. So, the thing that I was going to point to in this one is basically adding our quiz game. So the quiz game is in here, so if we go ahead and type quiz, we can actually play the quiz game, and that should work just fine. However, I want to do something here. Yeah, so everybody can join the quiz game, and right now I did not get around to adding the questions to the game yet. So our database, our table of questions actually only includes 2 questions, and one of those questions is basically a joke. So only one of them is actually a real question. Okay, let's jump back over to what we were talking about, which is this. Not the quiz game one. We want to go back to this one. Okay, so I completed the TwitchLib upgrade this weekend. So we took a look at the TwitchLib upgrade a couple of weeks ago. Yarksy, you were talking about caveats to connecting Discord for a moment, but didn't elaborate. Okay, so the can of worms that opens up when we connect Discord. Oh, and there's our C# question. Which one of these is not valid C#? And you'll see based on this question why we need to have this up somewhere. Into A. I think it's A, but I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. Yeah, see, this is exactly why we need it. Oh. Yeah, see, there we go. I did get it. Cool. I got my question right. But you'll see based on that question's really hard to read in this format. It's why we need to get this showing up on the screen somewhere, because if those were actually written like one on each line, you'd be able to tell them apart. The other option would be having the bot send an individual message, but that'll be tricky, because that's just going to be a lot of text in the chat that we don't necessarily want to deal with. Okay, so to answer the question, Yarksy, about the caveat to connecting Discord, when we connect Discord, we have to start dealing with this problem. This iChat client that we have is the wrapper that we use around whatever chat service we connect. So whether it's Discord or Twitch. So in a good amount of the code, a lot of the code, I should say, I've been very careful to make sure that the code doesn't run into a problem where connecting a second chat is going to make the system suddenly break down. There's one thing I haven't touched yet, and I know that one is not there, which is why we're going to need to fix it sometime soon. So in our data, we keep track of users based on one thing and one thing only. We use either their Twitch user ID or their Twitch username. So we use just the unique values to Twitch to identify people. If we were to connect, say, Discord, then we would run into a problem. The user IDs would be distinct, but we could have duplicate usernames. So while I am DevChatter here on Twitch, anybody could be DevChatter on Discord, for example, because it allows for duplicate usernames. Like your display name can be the same as someone else. Hey, EridTag, welcome. And so that's the challenge that we're going to run into when we connect that. Let me show you why it's an issue in the pull request. And then I'll jump back and I'll show you the TwitchLib upgrade. Yeah, Yarksy, you'd want a composite key of either username and service, and probably also user ID and service, both as unique keys that could be used to identify a user. Either one would work, actually. But the idea is that we need to know which service they come from. So in this one, for example, we can connect to... there is an API that will tell us the known bots in Twitch. So you can identify that someone's a bot, and we can say, hey, you know what, bots don't get currency in here, and we want to handle bots a little differently, so being able to know that something is a bot is actually really useful for us. So what this does is, in this change, we get this. The suggestion was to add on to our chat user model, our data model, an isKnownBot. And so the idea is here that if we know someone's a bot, we can mark them as such and start treating them differently. And if that username that we got is not a bot, then we can treat them as not a bot. And obviously, in addition to this, we could also, if we know something's a bot and the API doesn't, so for example, I know that FritzBot is a bot, and so I could mark it as such. So if it showed up in here, I could treat it as a bot. Even though it probably isn't on the list of known bots that we're going to be referencing. So the challenge is this. When the service that does this work runs, essentially every time we add a new chat user to our database, this is going to step in and say, hey, do I need to check and see if this person's in this list? And that's what it's going to do. So isKnownBot, it's going to call out to that endpoint, passing in the username it wants to check, and come back. The problem is this is very specifically part of the Twitch library, which I'm cool with. This is KnownBot in Twitch, is what this is checking. The problem is we only want to check the users that came from a Twitch service. So wherever this is used, which includes this place here, this is inside of the chat user collection that this is getting used. Now this needs to get closer to Twitch. So in here we would have to say, use a known, for the KnownBot service, it should check where that user is, whether they're in Twitch or something else, and check the right place. So we almost need to send the chat client they came from. So when we do, so we can discuss that later, but I think you get the point that we need to tie this to a chat service, otherwise we're going to run into problems. And Yarksy, what did you say? But then you need a display-friendly name where service isn't there. Yeah, and then odd that it's a bool. You either know they're a bot or you don't. Oh, no. So Yarksy, the point is that the reason why it's a nullable bool is if you haven't checked them yet. So, for example, anybody in our system right now has not been checked yet. And so those are the ones that we would need to look at. So the point of that is that no one currently in the database has a record, and you don't want to choose false or true for it yet. Yeah, I agree, but that's the way that you make it so that the database table can get updated without setting a default value. So that's basically what they did there. So if I were doing that, I would actually do it the same way. I would temporarily make it a nullable Boolean, and then I would run it through, I would run through the system, updating all the values, and then in the next database update, I would change it so it's no longer a nullable Boolean. I would require the type then. So welcome everybody that's showing up. We're just discussing a couple of design issues with how we would handle multiple different chat services. Just one of those loose services that unravels. Yeah. So the idea is as long as you clean it up, Yarksy. Yep. So I would just get rid of it eventually. So I wouldn't keep it around. It's just an easier way to Because what you're either going to do is you're either going to set a default value of false in order to add the column, which I don't like, because that has a little bit worse taste in my mouth than having it temporarily be nullable. Because either one of those is going to have to be there in order to add the column. Okay. Yeah, the other thing that we're going to have to add to the chat user is knowledge of which system it's from. So that's going to be the same way. So to start, so on that one, my plan is also to make that one, is either going to be set that one to a default and set it to Twitch and then remove the default again, or set it nullable, assign all the values, and then get rid of it. Either way works. So, okay. Where was I? We were going to take a look at the TwitchLib upgrade. So, for those of you that don't know, we did the TwitchLib upgrade on stream a while back. In fact, all this code I did on stream. So, most of it was just changing version numbers, but there were a couple of things. One of them being the way that you register the client changed a little bit. No longer just does a construction. You now have to call an additional method. I don't know the design reason for that. If we had one of the TwitchLib maintainers here, we can ask them. But they're not here right now. They did a lot of moving of namespaces of things. We did all this on stream. And so, essentially, this was just upgrading to the new version and making a couple of changes. And what I wanted to point out with this is that when we did it on stream, it did not work. And we didn't know why. The bot wasn't connecting to chat, and we weren't really getting anything. And so it was a little bit frustrating on stream, so I said, hey, since I probably have to mess with settings, I figured I probably had something with my OAuth wrong or something like that. I was going to have to leave you guys on my no peeking screen, which is this. And since I don't want to leave you guys on no peeking screen forever, I said, hey, let's just do this another time, I'll take a look at it. But I do want to tell you guys what the issue was that we ran into, because I did end up figuring it out, and I solved it on our end, and then I reported back to TwitchLib because it was a bug with how TwitchLib worked, and so they should be getting that resolved. So here was the problem. So I use Twitch channel name right here, and it's set to secret in here because the actual values in my user secrets file, which I don't really care that you guys see values like that one, but I felt like there was no reason not to just put them all over there so that I can manage them all within one file. But this was the problem. I had DevChatter as our channel name, so I'll type it into chat so you can all see it. That's the channel name, except I didn't have it written like that. I had it written like this in my file. I had the D and the C capitalized in DevChatter. Well, as it turns out, in one spot before inserting it into a dictionary, they lowercased the value, put it into the dictionary, and then when they went to pull it out, they did it without doing a case-insensitive comparison. So they're going to change their dictionary that they're using to store joined channels in order to do a case-insensitive check, because on Twitch, there is no case sensitivity on a channel name. So that's why they're going to do that. They're going to change it so that it does a case-insensitive check, and it'll be fixed. For now, that just means that these values inside of your config file need to be lowercase. So heads up for anybody that is using the bot, that if you have any trouble connecting, that might be why. M7MD2281, hi, welcome. Welcome, everybody. So we were just reviewing the changes that I put in, this might have been yesterday, might have been the day before, I can't remember, whenever I merged it 22 hours ago, so that was yesterday afternoon. When I clicked the button, I should say. I actually made the change on Saturday, I believe. Let's see. Okay, so that was that one. And let's take a look at the other pull request, which I think was this. I discussed this one a little bit already. The one other piece of feedback, which I already put in here for WTF Blub, so awesome job, WTF Blub. This was actually really good. So there are only a couple of changes that I want to make. I want to suggest, since my suggestion here, in this method and a couple of other places, WTF Blub had to add the chat user object. I'm recommending, since we're passing in this object and display name is part of that object, we don't need to pass them both, we'll just pass the one. So that ought to make things a little bit cleaner there. And yeah, sounds good. So we will merge that one in once we get that change. And let's go start on our code. So what we are going to do today is this. I want to take a look at logging or dependency injection, but I'm kind of leaning towards logging. So let's start there. We'll take a look, see what we can get in here, and see if we can make it a little bit nicer. So I'm going to show you guys ASP.NET Core logging. Whoops. I want to do it on a screen you guys can see. So we're going to head out to the ASP.NET Core documentation right here. Now this doesn't line up exactly with our stuff. We're not in ASP.NET Core. That's partly why I want to bring you here, is because we want to take a look at what's in the documentation and discuss how we're going to do it a little bit differently. Okay, so logging in ASP.NET Core. Part of the reason why we end up doing a lot of stuff differently is because we don't have a lot of the structure that ASP.NET Core just hands us by default. Now, we may eventually switch to ASP.NET Core, and when we do, we would get some of that advantage. But right now, we don't want to tie ourselves down to any specific thing. We could currently run on Docker, we could run on Linux, we can run on Windows. We've got people that have tried it in these different environments, and our bot works fine in all of these without anything weird. Obviously, we can do ASP.NET Core and still get away with that, but then we are tied to having a website, which right now we don't even need a website. We need no interface. Like, we're literally just running this. Our bot could be a system tray only application that we put in the system tray. We don't even we don't even need a console app. Like, this only exists because why not have the console app with a stop command? Like, literally the ability to type start, stop, restart, and exit is the only reason we have a console app. We have like a handful of commands that we can do, and we don't need much more. We could easily be a system tray icon, but we don't really need to be that either. We'll figure it out at some point when we want to add those things. Okay, so here's the basic structure that I want to go with in terms of logging. I want to do this same type of logging where we pass in our object as a dependency in the constructor of our object. It is going to be an iLogger of the type of whatever we're in, because that's a pretty standard format in logging, and I like it because it's pretty clear and most developers have seen it before. It's not a new concept. It's not something that people are going to be surprised by. And I do strongly believe in not surprising other people. It's generally a good idea to write code that will not be shocking or surprising in any way. Okay, so once you have that logger as a field inside your object, the thing that you want to do is be able to call log. Now, the couple of things I like is I do like the way that this is in the default logging, which is log information and log warning. I do like specifying the type of logging information that you're doing when you send out the message. One other thing I want to point out with this is right now we're probably going to put it in like this, but I'm expecting that we're going to have some kind of domain event architecture. For those that don't know, the idea with this is that we want to be able to send up a message and say, hey, I did a thing, and something else can be listening for that. And then we can log based on that for a lot of our logging. I'm expecting a lot of it will be like that, but I'd like to get the logging framework in and configured first. So here is the challenge. If you look at this, you'll see that on the web host builder, they call .configureLogging and just pass in their hosting context, their logging, and then they do like logging, add configuration, console, and debug. That doesn't work for us because we aren't going to be on web host builder. So we're going to have to do this a little bit differently. We're still in a program main like they are. So you'll notice that ASP.NET Core is now the same kind of structure we are. So you can also see how it won't be that difficult for us to wire into this once we do meet it. MTC 743. Do I see .NET ever become a thing in companies like Google and Facebook? That's a good question. Java and C# are the dominant language in those companies? Well, I mean, like, not entirely. Google's done a bunch of stuff in Python in the past. Facebook's done some things in PHP. And that's not to say that they both don't do a lot of other things as well. I mean, there's a lot of JavaScript in Facebook as well. I would expect to see C# and C+ and .NET Core being able to get into a lot of places. I wouldn't actually even pick Java and C++ as like the dominant language. And if you just want to restrict to Google and Facebook, that's a tough one. But I can say that I expect .NET Core to become very popular. And I say this because it is cross-platform, already has a strong base of developers, because there are a lot of C# developers out there. I'm included in that. You're in, and many of the people here in the chat are C# developers, and so I would expect that C#, the support of the C# community is going to make it so that .NET Core doesn't go away very quickly. And I think because of that, it will do very well. The fact that it runs on Linux means that we are going to get some of the developers that don't want to run a Windows machine interested in using it. And if we can draw anything from the success that Microsoft has had in influencing the current direction of JavaScript, so that's like a change where Microsoft is helping to drive how JavaScript goes, and that's really not a Microsoft technology. I would say that that's a sign that the developer community as a whole is becoming a little bit more accepting of the code that is coming out of Microsoft. And by code, I mean like the programming languages and tools. So VS Code is extremely popular, especially among developers that don't even use .NET Core. So the fact that someone can write .NET Core in that same program that they do all this other stuff in, I also think will help drive it. But nothing will answer that question better than time. So we'll see. Yeah, exactly, Arid Tag. I fully expect .NET Core to... I don't know how long it's going to take, but .NET Core certainly is getting the whole .NET community behind it, and I think it's going to attract some attention outside of the Microsoft developer community as well. Partially because it's fast and lightweight, which is a new one from Microsoft. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that. There we go. This is the NuGet package we want. Microsoft Extensions Logging Abstractions. And default implementations are in Microsoft Extensions Logging. I don't know if we actually want that, but let's find out. Are we in a good branch? We're not yet, but we're about to be. Benric Logging. I'm not sure why I clicked that button. Force of habit. Okay, so we're going to push that out. Let's jump on to NuGet package. Rar DevChatter. So what did we say it was called? Whoops. Open this up. It's this one. Hang on. These two. So we want this. Now, is grabbing this going to get us the other one? What is this? Console logger provider implementations. Interesting. Dependencies, net standard, dependencies, no dependencies. Okay, so we're going to install this inside of the bot for now, because we're going to need that pretty much everywhere. And then we're going to install... I'm going to install console, because why not have the console logger? And then it said there were default implementations in here, so I'm going to bring this one in as well, and we'll see what we need of these and get rid of the ones that we don't. What's in logging configuration? Configuration support. Okay. I'm willing to grab that for now. So we're going to grab this set of logging-related NuGet packages and find out which ones we need, because it's a little easier to grab these than not. Yes, exactly, MTC. They really need to get us an awesome GUI library, which a lot of people are pointing to, like, you know, some other options. And I think there's even a third-party option that... I do actually want to take a look at the third-party option, but I still believe that Microsoft needs, you know, a first-party, built by Microsoft, lightweight, you know, cross-platform GUI library that'll let people build really nice things. And I'm hoping they take the same design approach they did for ASP.NET Core, in that it needs to be lightweight. It should be super easy. And I'm hoping that it ends up with a similar kind of structure to what they did with almost everything in .NET Core so far, because they really have done well with it. So I'm going to do a build here just because this is going to go and hopefully do our package restore and everything like that. I may have to stop the bot because it is running, and I think this may have been a significant... Yeah, so I will stop the bot. And I'll start it up again as soon as this is done building. So we're going to go ahead and do another rebuild there. And I'm going to start the bot up again. So it'll rejoin the chat. There we go. Hey, the bot's back in here. Woohoo. Okay. So we didn't break anything by pulling that in. This should have just been like a handful of line changes right there. So not bad. And that's basically what we wanted. So looks like we've got our logging bits in here. Let's take a look at the interfaces it got for us. For anybody that is wondering, all we modified right now is the bot project, but obviously once we put this into our system, those interfaces are probably going to get referenced in the core, and I haven't decided yet whether or not I want our own iLogger interface or whether I'm willing to use Microsoft's, and we're going to have to take a look at how messy this one is. So, let's take a look at this right here. So, this says, I don't want a logger factory necessarily. Yeah, I just want an iLogger of T. So, we're going to have an interesting T, and I just want to get this running and try to use it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to put it here. Yep, Microsoft Extensions Logger. Now this needs to be some kind of an object. So I'm going to say iLogger of program, logger. And then let's see, can it figure out what the types are? Logger of type program. Oh, cool! It has a null logger. It's a logger that does nothing. Perfect. We actually need one of these, so I'm glad they built one in. So we don't have to write our own. So that's when that's a good option for tests where you don't actually care about the logging, for example. Sorry about that, everybody. Had to take a quick break, get a drink. Gotta stay hydrated. And no, not sponsored by Pepsi yet. Hopefully, though. Let's see. Logger factory. Factory. I need a logger factory. I don't want a logger factory. Let's see. We're gonna say, what can you tell me about the logger factory? Logger factory. No. Not what I'm looking for. Create logger on the iLogger factory instance. Okay, I need an instance of that. What implements my iLogger factory then? Alright, we have a new logger factory. That's fine. So let's do this instead. So we're going to say logger factory, and then we're going to say logger factory dot create a logger of type program. There we go. So that ought to make a logger for this, and then I should be able to say logger dot log information. Oh man, these interfaces are so nasty. I remember now why I don't like these interfaces. Someone at Microsoft needs to go learn about interface segregation principle. Although it seems still nicer than it was before. Let me show you why. I'm going to take one quick second here. I'm going to show you why I don't like these interfaces, because I think it's important to mention. So I'm going to make class 1 really quickly. I'm going to add the iLogger interface to this, and I want you to see what happens. We want that one. Okay. Oh, that's actually not bad. Why is that? Why was it worse than the other one? Is it worse when you do it based on T? Really? It's not any worse? Hang on. It looked so much worse before. Oh yeah, TwitchLib, it might just be a bunch of extension methods. Well, that's not bad then. Never mind, they fixed it. I'm not going to complain. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you, Microsoft. You fixed it. Hooray. I'm happy again. Awesome. I used to hate that. You're right. They all have the extension method thing. So what's the... Where's the... Oh, it's just this one. This is literally the only one. Well. In that case... Log information. Something... happened. Cool. I don't know what my objects would be, but we'll do that. That's a format string, isn't it? Let's take a look. We're gonna watch for that. Whoops. Stop. Exit. Take a look. We're just looking for something happened. Nope. Something didn't happen. Okay, so we need this to be a console. Do I configure this? There we go. New console logger settings. There we go. So this is the stuff that's going to have to get wired up. So console logger settings, I'm betting, is what we're going to need to actually have in our app settings. Include scopes, dictionary switches. I'm going to try just passing an empty one for now and see what we get. So let's stop the bot again. We're just watching for our one message in here. Assuming that gets in there, then we're going to call it good and start wiring this together. Still nope. Problem with them being extension methods is that they can be hard to unit test if you want to test what's logged. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Because they're not going to get called on that object, they're going to get called on the static. That's a very good point, TwitchLib. I didn't think about that. The one benefit, though, TwitchLib, is that I bet that the extension method is just calling the other method anyway, and so you could mock the log method, and you just need to know what gets passed to it. So as long as they're not creating new instances, you could still even get away with some pieces like that. So I bet it still works. It's just not as nice because what you expect in your test doesn't line up with what is actually in the code. So I think that's the problem you're going to run into. But I think it'll work. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and say log error. There's no way that the default setting doesn't show us log error. Nope. Alright, so what are the options on our logger setting then? Change token. Nope, not gonna use that. Switches. Huh. Okay. Going to look at this. You're telling me in this section's about the logger, you don't include this? Microsoft, logger, console logger. You guys don't have any examples of how to use this? Thanks. You're kidding me, come on. Sorry about scrolling fast, I'm just zipping through. I don't want to sit here forever looking at this thing. New console logger provider. Alright, we're going to pull this out and take a look at it then. Console logger provider, what do you got for me? Well, that's weird. It can make a logger. What the heck is the point of the factory then if the provider can make them? That you don't know what type it's going to give you, which is nice and all, but I'm just trying to make one that's specifically a console logger one. I'm just going to make one of these. Nope, not foo. Not goo, foo. Okay. Our filter is going to just say true, and include scopes will be false. I'm going to do that. Console logger dot log error. Really? Alright. Bot's still in? No, it's not. We're going to run the bot again, and I apologize for filling up chat with stupid console log things. There we go! I don't know why that stupid piece of junk provider wasn't doing what I wanted. Either way, that is nicer. Okay. Console logger does not have that, however, it does have that piece. So what is actually happening behind the scenes when it builds that, pray tell? iLogger. So let's see, console logger, Microsoft logger factory. How do you work, logger factory? What are you doing? What are you doing? Create logger, logger factory type. Create logger. Create logger of that type. But you won't tell me what you do? You don't have like a reference to the source code? Because that would be sweet. Create logger, logger type, logger, this extension is logger factory. Yeah, I would love to just take me to the source code. Take me to the source code. Please. No? Okay. Well, bummer. Alright, in that case, that piece does work. Did I ever... have I ever thought of working at Microsoft? I have thought of working at Microsoft. I'm not in... I've had thoughts against working at Microsoft. I've had thoughts for working at Microsoft. A little bit torn on the idea. There are some things I like about the company and some things I don't like about the company, so it's a little bit rough there. I don't generally like large companies, for example. Large companies tend to be slow and not actually able to get things done, which I think surprises a lot of people. But I definitely find that to be the case. So I want to change a couple of things here. So I'm going to take a look at the NuGet packages for our solution because I want to start lining some things up. So I'm going to go to the installed packages and we're going to go to the abstractions that we just pulled in. So that's this. This is what got us the iLogger interface in all of our different places. I want this to be accessible probably basically everywhere. So I'm going to make this available in all the projects because this is an interface that I think everything should have access to right now. So what you're saying, TwitchLib, is I should tell our Dallas to get on the channel, huh? I've already talked with him a bunch of times. I mean, I'm planning on... We're gonna have him as a guest. Maybe I should have brought him on to do this. Yeah, see? Notice he says the same thing. I like making my own iLogger interface. He wants you to do it too, huh? I'm not surprised. For those of you that don't know, I actually... I've worked with Steve many times in the past. He actually just lives, like, 5 miles that way. So, that's our Dallas. This is the guy he's talking about. So, he's a good friend of mine. We write code in very similar ways. So, if you know and like Steve's code, you'll probably like my code, and if you know and like my code, you'll probably like Steve's code. We don't match exactly, but because we have a couple of things we disagree on, and hilariously, I will show you one of those things really fast. One of the things that I do in my code is this. When I write a unit test name, I include this underscore here. This literally is the difference that you'll find between our test naming, is I put that underscore in there between what you expect and what is the assumption, what's the given in the test. That, for example, is one of our differences. So we don't quite use the same test naming, but for the most part it's pretty similar. Okay, so he recommends we do this same thing. Yeah, see? That's the thing that's really annoying, is like they add in these nice interfaces and then you basically just end up wrapping it again anyway. Yeah, see, look. This is what I was talking about when I said interface segregation. Notice how much simpler this interface is than even that one that we were looking at from Microsoft. Like, yeah, it was pared down much better than it was in the past, but this is still so nice. Steve, I'm stealing this. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to put this inside of our core project. Maybe inside of util. Makes sense in util. It's all the various things. We're going to put our first thing in here that has to do with logging. It might move somewhere else. What did he call it? Logging adapter? LoggerAdapter. There we go. Pooh. So he takes in an exception string, so that's when you have an error, and everything else is just information. I like it. How did it work? +1 for underscores. Use 2. Method being tested. What's supposed to happen? Oh yeah. See, that's it. See, I put what the method being tested is. I put that in the class name. So that's the one difference there. My classes are named with what method they're testing. So I probably break my test classes into smaller chunks than you, TwitchLib. Which then does mean that I often need to make either a composed or inherited class in order to get reuse between my classes. So there's a trade-off for everything we do. So we're going to steal that code there, and then we need... you can implement this adapter using the implementation type it's using. In this case, iLogger of T and its extension methods. Testing logging. There we go. Testing logging. Where's this adapter? Where's your adapter, Steve? You gotta have your adapter in here somewhere, right? Nope. Seriously? Testing logging, testing logging. Okay, where'd you put it? Mock iLogger thing. Really? I don't see it. Okay, well, we're gonna steal this iLoggerAdapter. That is a really annoying... Whatever this thing is that's popping down right here, I don't like it. I don't like it. Guess I could click that, but then it's still coming down, so. Alright, so we're going to do this. I'm going to make a class right here that implements that interface. Ooh, that was ugly. Thanks for those numbers, Steve. That was great. Love that. And we already included the NuGet package over here, so that's why that worked so nicely. We can move this over into its own file. And it's currently complaining. Services, some other service had it? Okay. LoggerAdapter, iLoggerAdapter, and this is basically a little wrapper around Microsoft's iLogger of T. And then we can do this. Now everywhere, we want one of these, and we want to tell our IOC container, our dependency injection, as it were, that this is what we want to use instead. So now when we go to our module class right here, and this is what I wanted to clean up, by the way, because we can change out most of those for single command. So a lot of people like the deliberateness of specifying which types they want their IOC to actually wire up, but what we could do, for example, is make it so all the things that end in the word command just go ahead and come out and work just fine. Everything that implements that command and ends in the word command has that as its suffix. We could just make those all get scanned and wired up. If we didn't want to scan for all types and just auto-wire everything up, because I know some people that don't like that approach. Totally understandable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say... actually, I don't remember how to do this in AutoFac. So we're going to say iLogger of T, except that I need to actually Google that one, because I don't remember how to AutoFac wire up all generic options. I'm guessing Keezy1 as my guess on the name. Welcome, thanks for following. Hopefully you're enjoying DevChatter. Auto wire up all generic decorators. Yeah, there we go. This will be close enough to what I'm looking for. So we want those. No, that's not it. Where is it? Implicit relationship types. AutoFac generic interface. Resolving a generic interface with AutoFac. Register generic. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Register generic, and this is LoggerAdapter as an LoggerAdapter. There we go. Done. There we go. Now it should be able to actually get us our LoggerAdapters. Except the LoggerAdapters themselves require something extra too. Because the LoggerAdapter needs to know about iLoggers of T. So I am going to say AutoFac iLogger Microsoft. Because I wanted to know that it's the Microsoft. There it is. Yep. Service collection, add logging. No. Logger factory, single instance, register type. There we go. Got it. I was going to say, this is so default. Everybody does this, so this code had to just be somewhere that we could just do that with. This one can't live here. This one is only accessible higher. So we have to be up here in order to do this one. Which means it goes up here. So we registered a couple of modules and then we register these settings. And actually, just in case this really does go in order, I'm going to do that before we call these modules, because one of those modules might actually want to have this. So we're going to put it in there like that. That should work, I think. So let's take a look at our set of dependencies now. So we've got that one, and we're expecting now to get one of these. This is going to get called by that. It's going to get one of these. We're going to pass it. We might not actually need the factory, but we put it in anyway. All that remains is to register the logger type so the container has been, after the container has been built, or before your application starts. Okay. So we need to do this. Inside of our setup bot, this is where the container exists. Oh, I could do Serolog, but I wasn't planning on doing that one. Maybe I will. Logger factory. Add console. Adds a console logger that is enabled for log level information or higher. Okay, cool. That ought to work. WTF Blub! Hello, welcome. Let's put that in there. Let's see if this works. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Who knows? I'm going to get the previous code that we had out of here, because I don't want that there. So now what I want to do is, did I put that LoggerAdapter dependency anywhere? I did not yet, but I will. Let's put it on one of our commands. Let's put it on the coins command? Sure, we'll put it on the coins command. LoggerAdapter. And the type of this is going to be the coin, so it's going to be an LoggerAdapter of type coins command. We're going to introduce that there. I don't know if this is going to work. Just a heads up. Wait, logger factory. Did I even wire up that we needed a logger factory? We grab a logger factory and we do that. Did I even tell it that we're using that one? Container services, extension methods. iLogger factory is used by logger of T to instantiate the actual logger. When using the logger extension, the console application is recommended to still use the iService collection, as this allows you to register all the packages which supports this pattern. Well, let's find out. So in our setup bot, we make a new container builder. So let's do this. So that's that one. We don't need this because we're doing that one already. Sir, builder.populate. Does that exist? Why didn't that work, actually? Oh, because builder's down here. But it doesn't like it anyway. Oh, maybe that's to put all the ones that are in there? Autofact builder populate. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know what that does. This guy's smoking. There it is. Why don't I have this then? Is that out of date? iLogger. How do you connect this with this? What's it do with his logger factory? Yeah, I really don't want to wire that up. Man, I'm looking forward to the point when we're actually using ASP.NET Core. For anybody that doesn't know, ASP.NET Core is basically, if you're not on ASP.NET Core, it is much harder to be in .NET Core, which is one of the only things that annoys me right now. I complain about that to the ASP.NET team and Core team frequently. I yelled at them on Twitter for the fact that when I click on this, I can't go to my user secrets. There's no context menu item. It's literally just opening up a file. But you only get this if you're running ASP.NET. It's really stupid. I want them to, you know, fix these things. Little bits that makes no sense not to just have it working right in there. Either way, let's run this. Let's see where it fails. I'm pretty sure we're going to fail because it's not going to know how to make that logger be the right type of logger. Microsoft is not assignable to service Microsoft iLogger. Yeah, that's what we figured. Something in there wasn't going to be able to wire together. Let's try running it again. This time I'm going to run it in debug mode. We're going to take a look at what happened. Okay. Microsoft extensions logging logger of T is not assignable to iLogger 1. Oh, did I put that in right? I might have messed up that. Yeah, wheel spin. Sorry, it's not in there right now. As type of iLogger. What the? That should be right. Oh. Whoops. They're backwards. Switched them. No, the bot is not dead, wheel spin. It's just not turned on right now. Don't. Async Awake is lying to you. He said terrible things. Terrible, awful things. Is not assignable to T category name. It's not a what the? Calm down. We're just messing around with its dependency registration right now. So that's all. That's why it's going to be a little wonky for a second. Oh, you know what? I bet the other one's messed up too because yeah. See, I did them backwards. I don't know why I did those backwards. My brain wasn't working. Wait, wait, do I have that backwards? Maybe I have this backwards. Maybe it was right. Documentation. Configure the service that the component will provide. What? 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 Wait, maybe it was right. Why don't I do that instead? That seems nicer. And I'm not going to bother with the single instances. And why isn't it just as implemented interfaces right now? Dependency registration sounds fancy. Yeah, it sounds fancy. It's mostly just plumbing to wire up the fact that I'm not writing new statements in the beginning of this. Logger of T is not assignable to iLogger. Why is it not getting that that's a generic? It seems to not be figuring out that because it's listing the T here, but not in the other one. The fun of banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out why this doesn't work. Extensions.logging.logger. Arctic 1 T is not assignable to service. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, that's autofact, but I want it specifically for logging. Alright, I'm gonna do this. Screw it. Screw it. Doing that. Done with it. It's done. It's done. We're doing it. Don't you have to use register generic for the logger too? Logger factor is not generic, is it? Yeah, logger factor is not generic. Yes, I do. That's why it wasn't working. Good catch. Microsoft Extensions iLogger is not an open generic type definition. Try this. Hey, Helosia, welcome. Holy crap, it started. Okay, there we go. We didn't blow up. We did not blow up. What did I put it on? Did I put it on the coins? I think I put it on the coins command. Oh, the coins command didn't blow up. Well, welcome, people. Welcome. Okay, so some of these commands are working, and this one apparently has an adapter in it. Let's try calling it and see what happens. We'll put it inside the try block. We'll say log information and say I am in the handle command, whoops, $. I am in the name of handle command of the name of coins command class. Oh, I forgot the end curly brace there. I'm like, why is this all red? Okay, that looks fantastic. Get coins. Let's see. There we go. Oh, and Jado Gamer. I apologize if I butchered your name, but welcome. Let me try this again. Coins. Boom! I am in the handle command method of the coins command class. Very nice. We got it. Okay, so that's working. Now the question is, how many of these various things that we brought in did we actually need? I'm going to let the abstraction, I'm going to get rid of the abstraction from these. So we're going to discard that change, because we don't need that one. Welcome, J-Do Gamer. That's awesome. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Much appreciated. You should now be able to use the DevChatter hype emote, which I see you're using in chat. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? I love that little guy, because he's got his little hype thing. He's all like, yay, hype! It's pretty good. Welcome. Hype's in the chat, guys. Hype's in the chat. Yeah, he's got a little, he's just, tiny arms. He's got little grabbers to hold up his hype sign. Love that guy. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. We're going to get rid of these references to the abstraction because we're going to use the LoggerAdapter now, so that we don't have to even bleed this through any further than our core project. So yeah, it's in the core for now, but you actually, wait, we don't need that in the core project. What am I thinking? Let's do this. Let's get that junk out of here. LoggerAdapter, ooh, yeah, we'll leave it there for now. It's not perfect. Our options are this. We can either have, we could move the implementation LoggerAdapter class into this, the console application, which is one option, and then it would be the only thing that actually knew about it, because that's the only piece that actually uses that interface right now. Or we could hide it somewhere else. Okay. Let's see what we can remove from this project and get away with. So I am going to just discard those changes and see what blows up now. And yeah, I'm going to let it just tell me which couple are needed. So we need logging console and logging, apparently. What is... Actually, were we actually using this one? I'm not sure we were using that one. That one might be blowing up for another reason. Same with this one. Okay, we added console, so we do need this one. So where am I? I'm in the bot. So in here, manage NuGet packages, Microsoft extensions, logging, and we're going to grab the one for console. So we're going to bring this one in. Yep, that one right there. I accept. Because I think this one gives us the extension method that let us call add console to that. And it may not like it because the bot is running right now, so we're going to do that. Okay, so that suddenly became usable there. Yeah, this is an extension method that's in here, and I think it's not actually in the library I thought it was. Alright, have a good lurk, Wheelspin. Sorry the bot wasn't running to acknowledge your lurk. Let's go ahead and try building again. There might be one more build error that we need to get. No, we're good. Okay, so here's what is cool about that. For anybody that didn't notice, the core project actually has a reference to logging abstractions. And logging abstractions is what has the iLogger interface we're using. The neat part is, you'll notice it does not have any reference to the Microsoft Logging Console library, which is the one that actually knows about the fact that we are using a console logging for this. If we take a look then over in the bot project itself, it has the logging reference for console, but doesn't actually even know about the iLogger interface, because it's not here. So it's using this one instead, so it has a different reference, so it does not have both NuGet packages, so that's kind of cool. I like that we were able to get that distinction, that they're using separate NuGet packages, not the same ones. Let's go ahead and run the bot again. So we're going to get this back in chat. So the console application's here again. And it should be running, and I just want to go ahead and run this again, and there it is. So when I run the coins command, our bot info and this come out. So what's neat is it does know about the fact that it's inside the coins command, and then it spits out our message. I am in the handle method of the coins command, which if we open up the coins command, you'll see is this right here. Ah, right there. So that's really cool. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Obviously, I don't really care about this logging message. That was just a confirmation that the bot was running at all. And I wanted to be able to trigger it when I wanted to run it. So we're actually going to put this logger in. We're going to put a logger inside a bot main, I think. We might put another one back in here. We'll see if we do. For now, I'm going to get rid of it. So let's chop that. Let's chop this. Remove that parameter. There we go. Okay. So this is adding in the logger. We already tested it there, but I don't want it there. I want it on bot main, I think. No, we're not putting it in bot main. That's already too messy. That's like our biggest mess in the project. We need to get that cleaned up at some point, but that's not. Today is not that day. Today is not that day. Let's go ahead and get this first commit in. So let's call this adding in the logger interface and implementation. Commit that. Next thing we want to do is actually use the logger for something. So there's a couple of things I want to do. I want to put it on command received, which actually, now that I think about it, that might get messier than I'd like. Received. Received. DevChatter, Twitch chat client. Right here, invoke on command received. Command handler. This needs it. Here we go. This is going to get a logger. This will get an LoggerAdapter of type command handler. And we'll call it LoggerAdapter. Logger. Logger's fine. So we're going to introduce a logger here. So now this should be able to get our logger. And then what we want to do is we want to acknowledge that we received a command and print out what it was. Attempt to run the command. Let's see, on command received. That's hilarious that we still have this stuff down here. I kind of want to get rid of these. That's our old cooldown code, I think. And this is also funny that that's their remove redundant section. Do the thing. Actually, that's there because if we ever add that, we'll want that back. Okay, command received, command structure, inventories, command cooldown, active command. I like how we left it called do the thing. That's kind of funny. Really should have a better name for that. Attempt to run the command. So here's what we're going to say. We're going to say _logger dot log information. We're going to say e dot chat user dot display name. So we're going to say display name is running the get type dot name. So we're going to say bot command get type name command. So there's some information, and now we did a console write line, but we don't have to do that anymore. We can now say _logger dot log error exception. So we can pass in our actual exception, say an error failed to run the a command. There we go. No longer need to do a console write line. So that should be a little bit nicer now. I'm going to go ahead and give our bot a restart. So let's go ahead and stop that, exit, and don't worry everybody, we're going to stop using the so the console interface that we have on this, that is going away. Once we do a web app. So for those that don't know, tomorrow we're going to do another pair programming stream. We're going to have James Chambers on the channel, and he and I are going to be working on some code together, so that should be fun. Let's go ahead and try running commands. So this should say it's a simple command, right? DevChatter is running the simple command. DevChatter is running the rock, paper, scissors command. So there we go. So yeah, that seems to work. That should be another simple command. That should be the coins command. There's the commands command. Quote, I swear it's not rigged. I love how that's the most commonly pulled one still. Like, we sometimes look it up, and other times it just comes up because, you know, it comes up. So, neat. There we go. That is nice. What a lovely day. Welcome, Amranio. And I apologize if I butchered your name, and if I did, tell me what I did wrong, and I will do it better the next time. Because I want to try to, I try to say people's names the way that, you know, you expect to hear them, like the way that that you like to hear your name. And if I do mess it up, just let me know, and I will try to do better next time. So I do my best. It's tough because it's not like it shows up there and tells me even what country it's from. So I don't even have a guess. Like, I have to be like, there's context. That looks like it might be this. So, welcome. Okay, so that appears to work. So, fantastic. I am going to commit this, and then I want to send this up for let's see. We're going to say adding logger to command handler. Okay, so what we're going to figure out really quickly as we do this. So Amrani is my last name. Cool. And I'm assuming the O represents your first name then? So Amrani is a family name, and the O might be a first initial? Just guessing. Okay, so so that piece looks good. I actually want to open up our pull request for this now. And that'll be for 16. And we're going to add to that. But the thing that everybody... see, Omar. That was actually going to be my guess based on the name and the letter. Because I was like, there's a common name that starts with O that, you know, sounds like it's from the same region. So, there is a guess there. The problem I would run into is if I said to someone that, yeah, I've got a name that starts with B, and it's a name that comes from, I'll say the British Isles. And the problem is there's two guesses, because there's one that comes from the English side and one that comes from the Irish side. And I've got the one from the Irish side. So a lot of people would guess Brandon, and that's not my name. My name is Brendan, which they have separate roots, actually, so it's kind of interesting. Names are fun. I like names. There it is. For some reason, I couldn't find logging in the list. Okay, so I'm not going to merge this in yet. But I want to get this out there so I can get some feedback from people. So that's why I'm sending this pull request out first. Yeah, name game, adding simple logging, and logging, add informational logging, add basic logging. Let's see, fixes that and fixes logging. This one. Okay, so we're gonna say that this pull request is not done, is not ready to go in. I'm sending this up there because I want people to be able to give me some feedback and other people to be able to make some suggestions on it. And this is a way to make it much more visible. Ooh, failed in the branch. I must have a failing test as a result. So probably because I didn't do a full build and I just did that. Then when I pushed up, it didn't check it. See? There you go. I have a compiler error. Figured it'd have to be something like that. This last one I added when I tweaked this, because I didn't do a full build even. Alright, so we want to do this, but I don't want to make a new LoggerAdapter of that type, because it needs a dependency as well, so I need a new... Do I have the null logger? Oh, yes. Yes, thank you, Microsoft. Boom! The null logger was in there. That ought to work perfectly. Check this out. I told you that null logger was going to be handy, and that's why I was thrilled when I saw it was in there. Thank you, Microsoft. Yeah, boy, that did it. That did it. I didn't have to do anything. I win. One small little change there. That was awesome. So we're going to say add the null logger for testing. Because I didn't, the logging isn't actually part of what was being tested there, so it didn't matter what got logged, so we wanted to ignore it, so the null logger worked perfectly for that. Super simple logging using only generics inheritance interface dependency injection. TwitchLib, yes. Yes, super simple. Okay. I will admit, TwitchLib, we have a few layers of abstraction in there, but at the end of the day, the use of it, that is actually what is simple, because when you actually call it, so from the standpoint of someone that wants to call the logger, you literally just get log information passing in a message, or you get log an error passing in the exception and the message. And actually, what did we do with these anyway? Log error. Oh, it's just using that log error and it's passing in that. Yeah, log information message. Yeah. So basically, we just made a wrapper that makes it simpler. This bot clearly needs to be designed around the logger. Yes, clearly. Okay, so cool. I'm glad you all like that, and I'm glad that that headache is gone. The nice part is we now have a bit of logging, and we can get nicer logging in here eventually then too. Here is the thing that I wanted to discuss with all of you that we're going to run into. This LoggerAdapter. Let's take a look at our command handler. So we added in the logger to our command handler, and you'll notice that it's getting rather long. So some people like putting dependencies like this. I actually am not a big fan of it. I like doing this structure where maybe you get like 2 per line-ish, because I don't think each one needs its own line unless it's a long one. But the problem is we're going to start adding this in like everywhere. So, in the spirit of that, let's go take a look at our base command, because I have a feeling because it's protected, it wants to do that. Yeah, I might come back and fix that. So here's the problem. My resharper won't actually work nicely with the naming conventions we're using here. Resharper's got a couple of things that it does that are dumb every once in a while. Great tool, I love it, but it's got a couple of things that just don't make sense. Work done, time to watch the cat pics. Cat pics? No, my cat's not here right now. TwitchLib, I still think DevChatter should have a second cat cam. It would boost viewer ratings a lot. Yay. Actually, the cats aren't even in here. Neither cat's in the room right now. Had to look. Okay. So I don't want to mess with that yet. Here's what I'm thinking. Wait. 16 references? 2 references? Is enabled. What do we use this for? Oh, whether or not a command is enabled or not. Right, because we eventually want commands to be able to get disabled somehow. So this is going to need to be able to do that somehow. Something to figure out. Which actually, now that I think about it, because that, maybe we can do this instead. True. And get rid of this. There we go. I need to stop the bot in order for this build to be able to work. Sorry, guys. Well, actually, the build worked anyway, so that's... that'll show me. Okay, there we go. Bot's back in here. Now, here's what I need to do. This is going to break everything. Twitch for the cat cam. I will tell you, TwitchLib, a cat cam costs a lot more than $1. And I don't think I could find a webcam for $1. But appreciate it all the same. And I'm not intending on turning on a cat cam, because that would take up more screen that we need for coding. No, I'm not that kind of a streamer. I'm just pointing out... No, Async Awake, I'm talking about, like, the feasibility of, like, you know... Thanks, Async Awake. I think you know I'm not that kind of streamer. Anyway. No. What I mean is, like, if... See, he says, like, 100 bits for the cat cam. You know, it's like, no, but, like... You know, I don't think you realize it's not exactly, like, a small thing, guys. Cat cams are difficult. Now, what I don't know what to do is this. What type do I put in here? What type do I put in here? An ilogger of what? I don't want to do an ilogger of base command. It's like each one's going to need their own thing. It's like we can't get away with putting it in these. We're going to have to go to all the base classes individually. I was hoping that we could somehow sneak it in there and get away with that, but I'm not sure we can. I think it might actually just have to really end up in each one of the underlying commands. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. The uptime command is going to get one of these. So we're going to say LoggerAdapter of type uptime command logger, and this is going to get messy because I don't have a good answer right now. We're going to need some kind of other refactoring in our project, something more serious than what we're doing right now in order to make this work. Just add the non-generic iLogger to your container. We didn't make a non-generic version's the problem, though. We'd have to change up our adapter if we wanted to get away with that, WTF Blub. Alright, Async Awake, that's hilarious. No, the cat eats house plants, and that without needing anything. Oh, right, that has to be a... So it's funny, it sees that as not necessary, but it actually is, I think. Yeah, We're not that kind of stream, guys. We're not that kind of stream. That's not the kind of stream this is. Alright, so here's what we are going to do. We're going to go ahead and try catch this piece of junk. And instead of that, we're going to do logger.logerror. And then we're going to say failed trying to get uptime data. And we're going to take this, we're going to toss this up into our try block. What's that going to do? Oh, that's hideous. Actually, that's not half bad. Written like this, it's not half bad. Time spent has value. The stream's been going for that long. Else something's wrong. Are we live right now? Okay, cool. So that ought to work. Let's go ahead and build this again. Not that I haven't built it a couple of times already. What, was that an error? Just unable to copy errors. So those aren't really errors. That's just the bot was already running, so yeah, it's an error. Alright, let's check our uptime. The stream has been going for not long. DevChatter is running the uptime command. Cool. Alright, so... obviously that's not going to fail right now, so I have to assume that that can. Let's make it fail real quickly. DevChatter. Hello everyone! Hi! Look! I got a message just for you inside the bot. Wasn't that nice of me? I said hello. Toss that over there. And we're going to say uptime. There we go. And the stream has been going... oh, that's funny. So because I put it after the message, it was able to send the message out into chat, but then it blew up. And it says, system exception, hello DevChatter. Puts in that stuff, so that works nicely. Very good. Our logging works. Let's get rid of the thrown exception, because we don't need to be throwing exceptions. We don't throw no exceptions in here. Alright, so base commands... first off, that's actually just a nice improvement. So I'm going to do that. Only one base constructor command. Ruby, welcome. Hang on, Ruby. Hang on. There you go. There you go. Sorry, it took me a second because I wasn't actually on the right account to be able to send that. There we go. That's a funny looking dinosaur. Yeah. Yeah, we meant this one, didn't we, Async Awake? Add date time to the log entry. Ooh, that is a good point. We probably should have that on there. Maybe that's something we should put in our adapter to automatically put in there, because we want that on there. Maybe that's already in there. That's a good question. So, something to improve there. So the other spot that I want to put this is in our currency generator, because that's the one that gets really weird. Where was I going? Over to here. I want to get these committed first. So... Command handler has a logger adapter, so we're going to put this one in here. Ruby Jean, thank you for following. Yeah, it is fun. Feel free to play a game of Hangman with our bot. As Async Awake has just started up a game. Just do that kind of command stuff to guess the thing. Oh, are you kidding me, TwitchLib? Are you kidding me? The letter T and you know it's Visual Studio? What? Hang on. I swear it's not rigged. What was this, TwitchLib? That was crazy. Alright, so, adding error logging to the uptime command. Okay, so in order for this to actually qualify as completing those two issues that we had in there, I want to actually have a couple of points where we use this in the logging, and a couple where we do it in the error logging, and a couple of points where we do some informational logging on it. So, hence why I wanted to get that wrapper around the uptime command, because I know that makes an external call out to a service, so that was going to have a try-catch block around it. And then this next one here, this one, command handler, I think is actually a great spot to put informational one. But first I'm going to try and find another good console write line. So we're going to find another one of these. Coins command? There we go. See? So the coins command needs the logger back because we want it to log on error. So LoggerAdapter of type coins command. We're going to call this logger, and we are going to save this as a field. We're going to grab this logger, bring it down here, and then we're going to do logger.log error e, and then failed to look up coins for user to check. Oh. You gotta be kidding me. Just for safety's sake, we're going to wrap those just so we can't error at all. So I'm going to put that in there. We're going to say failed to look up coins for that user. And then there we go. Anything interesting in chat? HM programming. What is this? Isn't that programming? How's that not programming? Boom. I win. Too lazy to type again. Nice job, WTF Blub. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we no longer need to do the console write line there either because we did our error log there. So that gets us a couple of points of error logging. So I would call it a good start to that. Add error logging to coins command. And yeah, I'm gonna commit this. I'm not gonna push it without testing. Well, certainly not gonna merge it without some testing. But I do want to get that in there. Son of a! I should have done that first. Alright, fixed it. You guys didn't see that. What error? I didn't do it. I clicked the undo button. Nobody saw that. What do you mean? That was fine. Yeah, totally okay. What you talking about? Everybody believes me. I totally didn't lie with using Git. Okay, so that one works. So we do commands. Oh, our command handler. So I put this down here. Logger information. Okay, so we're spitting out this one. So we are doing the logger here. But I kind of want to say that we hit one of the cooldowns. It's tempting. Wait, no cooldown is the only time that we... Huh, we might want to put that in there. Exclusive PR. Hey, with the recommended reading, what do you, oh, so, yeah, so I'll take a second and I'll talk about that. So, what, Exclusive PR is asking about is, at the bottom of my stream, which, by the way, if I sit here, you're going to see, look, it's me going all the way down, it's going crazy, look, new me's appearing all the way down. Anyway, so which ones would I actually advise people take a look at, I think is the question. So I'll talk about this because I didn't really, I tossed these up here because people asked me to put them up here, and I actually had them prepped already. I just needed to turn this panel on, because I'd already actually made these recommendations. So these are a set of books that I would recommend that people read. Most of these are not like mandatory, you really need to read these, but a few of these are very important, and I'm going to give you a quick intro to them, just to explain each one. So Clean Code is, it's one of Robert Martin's books, Uncle Bob Martin, which some of you may have heard of. This is a book that is about writing clean code. Just generally speaking, I think that this is something that it's useful to read. Probably not right away when you start programming, but pretty early on, actually. I think this is a valuable book to read because it's going to talk about writing clean code, based on the name, right? So the idea being writing code that when you come back to in the future, you're not going to be mad at yourself about. So, like, we all come back to our code sometime and we go, oh man, why did I write it this way? That was, like, we do that all the time. But what you don't want to do is get, like, really, really mad at yourself about your code, where you wrote something so badly that you basically can't even use it. So, anyway, so that's what that one's about. The Clean Coder is a similar one. It's also an Uncle Bob book, but this one takes this one's a different discussion. This one's not about the code. This one is about, so I like the name because it keeps it within a set, and you can understand this is like a set of books, but the Clean Coder is more about being a professional software developer. By professional, I mean like professionalism. So, that you are doing the right things as a person, almost, is kind of what that one's about. So it's like, as a responsible software developer, there are certain things you should be doing, and it's kind of a book more about that. Working Effectively with Legacy Code is a book that I would actually recommend that people wait a little while before reading. Before reading this book, you need to have tried to write unit tests. So that's this one here, Working Effectively with Legacy Code. This one is a book that I would say, when I first read this book, about half of what was in Working Effectively with Legacy Code, I was like, oh man, I was doing that right. That is awesome. I'm so glad I got validation. And then the other half was things like, oh, that's a really great way of doing this. I get it now. Thank you. And so I read this a long time ago and just thought, wow, that's great. because I had been trying to write a lot of unit tests around a legacy coding system. So the problem is that it was really, really hard to do that. And this book is basically like a recipe book for how to test difficult to test code. So that's why it's valuable. But I recommend that you have tried some of this stuff first. That's why I don't recommend it for a beginner developer. Yeah, TwitchLib, there are a lot of good things in series like that. So C# 3rd edition, I should say C# in-depth 3rd edition is on here. If you're gonna buy a book now, I'd recommend this one. For if you really want to understand C# really well, this is a good book because it's written by John Skeet, and John Skeet knows C# really, really well. So this is going to be a fantastic book. But I would recommend, if you're not going to read it soon, wait until the 4th is out. Yes, see, as TwitchLib said, it's actually not supposed to be out that soon, I don't think, but there's supposed to be a 4th edition coming out. The problem is they keep making new C# faster than John can actually get this published. Faith T. Kale, which hopefully I said your name right. Hello, welcome. Agile Principles, Patterns, and Practices, or like Agile PP&P in C# is another very good book. This is actually one that I'd recommend. I have this book right behind me right now. I also have the Clean Coder and Clean Code right behind me, and Working Effectively with Legacy Code. I have a bunch of these like in the room with me right now. I don't have a copy of C# in depth in this room. I don't think I have a copy of Slack in this room, but I've got a lot of bookshelves. So it's possible. Slack is more of just a... it's a book about the concept of having Slack. This is a short little book. And it's just generally a business book, and I'd recommend that people understand it because this actually gets into a lot of the ideas of Kanban in that Async Awake, yeah, no, that one's not for beginners either. And then Headfirst Design Patterns, that is for beginners. So Headfirst Design Patterns is actually one that a beginner could start out reading right away. Slack also could be read by beginners right away, and Agile PP&P, that could be read by beginners also. The only one that I'd recommend you wait a little bit on, really, is Working Effectively with Legacy Code. That's probably the one you want to wait on the most, but none of these are like learning a programming language style book. Yeah, don't worry, Faith Teokil. Someone asked what my recommendations were, so I was just jumping through those real quickly. So, now we're getting back to code. Back to code. So we're going to push up those couple of changes, and let's see where else we could toss in our logger. So we just added a logger to our code. We added a simple LoggerAdapter that wraps around Microsoft's standard console logger. Makes it a little bit nicer. Yeah, no problem, Exclusive PR. Your last question. Code complete 2. Wait, hang on a second. No, I've never heard of Code Complete 2. Where would I find a copy of Code Complete 2 if I were looking for it? Can you give me some advice there? You know where I might find that book? Exclusive PR. Where might I find a copy of Code Complete 2? Does anybody know? Yeah. So yeah, that was a joke. I was holding a copy of that book. No, it's not on my list. It actually is a good book. The Art of Unitism. Oh, Roy Osherov. I know Roy Osherov. You know, I don't remember if I've read his book, The Art of Unit Testing. It's probably very good. There are a lot of good books on unit testing. There are so many good books out there. Anyway, jumping back to this, give command, bonus command, points command, base command, streams command, top command, uptime, anything interesting. Let's happen to the games. Games seem like a great place to have some logging. Let's hop into the rock, paper, scissors game for now. Whoops, not that. This one. Here's the game. LoggerAdapter of type rock, paper, scissors game. There we go. Logger. Whoop. Nope, 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 nope. Why is rename the top choice on there? That is insane. What are you doing? Okay, so we have our logger there. Let's see, information. I'm gonna do this. Make string interpolation here. We're gonna say name of that, name of play match. Gee, what do we want to say? Maybe we don't want to say that. When does play match trigger? Just tokens, announce winners, get us ready for new match, attempt to start a new game. Start new game. Let's put it at start new game to begin with. That's going to be the first thing we're going to log. Start new game. So we're going to come down here to start new game. Log information, and then we're going to say starting game. Chat client dot get type name, and then why not username. There we go. See what that does. Mildly interesting bit of information to add in there when this is running. So now we're going to have some more logging as we run this. Yeah, see, so we're getting all those messages as people use commands. So whenever someone uses a command in chat, it gets logged. So for now, it's just a console log, but we are going to wire up more logging so we actually get that information stored somewhere so that after I stop the bot, we could still go back and look at a log. OG Shwoo, welcome. Thanks for following. And if I butchered your name, I apologize for that. Not the Hangman game. The what? RPG. RPS. Don't mind me. Alright, so what did we get in here? We got DevChatter. Async awake is running the Hangman command. DevChatter is running the rock, paper, scissors command. And then we started a new game. So DevChatter started a new game in the Twitch chat client. So that's pretty cool. Everybody should be able to pick in the rock, paper, scissors game if you like. If you want to join rock, paper, scissors, go ahead and choose rock, paper, or scissors by typing RPS and then rock, paper, or scissors. And you can also play in the Hangman game. I am wondering what that is. Oh, HM. What is that word? What is that word? Oh, I know it. Boom! Victory! I won the game of Hangman. Success. Okay, so you'll notice we're getting all this info about people running commands now, so that's actually nice. So our console is actually useful at this point, so that's good. We're getting real information. You can see the commands running as we run them, so that's also nice. Let's go ahead and commit this. We're not going to commit that change, but this one we will. Adding the logger to rock, paper, scissors game. So we're going to do that. So I just wanted to have a couple of pieces that are informational logging and error logging. We don't need everything wired up to the logger just yet. We just want to have a little bit in there so that we can say that this pull request actually has some purpose. So now that this is in here, you'll notice that this is going to do a fix on both of those issues that are in our system, so that is going to be awesome to be able to get our issues list cleared up a little bit, because it'd been getting a little bit out of hand. We're at 28 issues right now. I think at our height we got up to like 33, which was quite a few issues to have lingering. And part of the problem is that we have a number of ideas that are interesting and likely not ones that we're going to get to on stream, so for some of those I'm either going to start... I know with a couple I did clear them out without actually solving them. I just closed them. But there are a couple of others that are like, if we can't get a viewer to volunteer to work on it, we're probably not going to do it on stream, so we might close it down and say, hey, if it comes up again, you know, reopen it, but let's wait for that. For anybody that is wondering, you'll notice that we are here. All the code that we work on this stream is out on GitHub, so if anybody's new to DevChatter, just keep in mind it is all there, so you're actually allowed to contribute. We actually have had actually quite a few of our viewers contribute to the project, so if you are interested in contributing to your first open source project, or if you are experienced in open source world, you're welcome to contribute too. Either way, we will gladly take a look at that, review it, and talk with you about it and figure out either how we can bring it in or what you need to change in order to do that. And the best way to chat with us to make sure that that actually goes smoothly is to join our Discord, which is a chat program that you might be familiar with. It's commonly used by gamers, but we use it here at DevChatter too. And that's another place where you can go and talk with other people that are interested in code. So you can check out either of those. Once this is done, we'll know that we know that this is going to pass because this one passed. So these are both gonna work. I like having both checks, but I know that this one's gonna pass. I'm not gonna merge this in yet because I want someone to review this. So what I am gonna do is I am gonna say help wanted so that people know to look at that one for me. So that's basically the help wanted is like a tag for you guys as like something that I want someone else to look at. So if you've got a moment, take a look at that code, make sure I didn't do anything really, really stupid. Keep in mind some of the code's there already, so if it's not from that pull request, you can mention it, bring it up as an issue somewhere else, but we don't want that necessarily to block this from showing up. Also, I should mention, if you're new, you can hit the follow button to get notifications when the channel goes live, but also we have a video section here on Twitch that has archives of our old videos, so if you want to take a look at that, that is a good place to see how we got to this point and see some of our other episodes, and you can see what kind of code we write here. And then additionally, if you want to see any of our older stuff, that is still out on YouTube, so you can check out our YouTube channel, and that actually has, I just linked that in chat as well, that has our really old videos, because Twitch only keeps things for a short period of time, and if you want to go back to see our old videos, that's the place to go. This actually is our 46th episode of DevChatter, so, which is really impressive. Okay, so those will get cleared up, so that's going to resolve a couple of those. I actually started on this dependency injection one without you guys. I was doing it on my laptop, so I haven't brought it in yet, but likely what I'm going to do is bring this in as a pull request. So, we sort of got this set up. So this was started by JD Phoenix. He's actually the one that put AutoFac in our system and even broke it up into modules. But the one change that I want to make is not just that we broke it into modules. I want to start scanning based on these modules. So I'll talk about that when we get to it. Let's see. Good masters. Commands list ordered by usage data. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Yes to all. All right. Let's see. So we got that in there. That's a little bit nicer. And we are still on that branch, right? Yes, we're still on the logging branch. What else do we want to log? Ooh, I know what we want to log. We want to log this. We want to go to our EF generic repo. Yes, TwitchLib, we should put some logging in startup as well. I agree. Especially around that chatter interface, so we can see that we went to that. So one thing that does happen is there is an undocumented part of the Twitch API that we use to check. So when the bot connects, One of the first things it does is it connects to Twitch and gets the list of all the people who are chatters in our chat room here, so inside of the Twitch chat, so that it can give you guys currency while you're sitting here. Currency being like channel currency, you earn coins while you're here. You earn 1 coin a minute. And anyway, so the trick with it is that that's an undocumented API that throws 500 errors sometimes. Yeah, log.fatal. Yeah, so it's got some issues. Anyway, here's what I want to do. Let me confirm that this isn't setup database. Okay, it's created literally. Okay. Let me see when that happens. So we go here. You create one of these. Right, now, data context. This. Because we're going to use it down here. So here's the challenge. I need this object to exist there, but then if the other one exists there, so we're creating a single instance that is this one. It's a little weird. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I might have to create a logger for this without using... I might not be able to get away with using our logging stuff that we built here. I might actually just have to give this its own logger. Because I want the EF repository to do it. But here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to take TwitchLoft's suggestion and log the beginning instead. So, chatter. Get all chatters. Here's what we're going to do. Could you quickly say why you chose EF over, say, Dapper? So, I like Dapper a lot. It's actually one of my favorite ORMs. I chose EF here because I think EF is going to be more commonly used by more people that are going to watch this stream. Yeah. If that answers your question, EF is going to be more common, so I wanted to do EF because I think it's going to be more relevant to more of our viewers async awake. But I like Dapper a lot. To explain to everybody what Dapper is, so Entity Framework is an ORM. That's our object relational mapper, which essentially is a fancy way of saying it is a library that connects to our database for us and does our SQL statements. So we don't have to write that. So the reason it's called a mapper is because it maps that SQL, like the database objects, onto our C# class objects. And I don't just mean mapper as in like automapper would just translate between those objects. I mean, when we pull it out of the database, it's already inside of an object, which is super nice. So I like ORMs. I've used a bunch of them. LLBL Gen, I've used Entity Framework, you know, back linked to SQL when it existed, tons of others. They're all really fun. They make it so you don't have to write a bunch of SQL all the time, which, not that I mind SQL, it's actually a very nice language, it works pretty well, but a lot of times I just don't care. That's not what I'm getting paid to do, is write SQL all day long. I shouldn't need to worry about those types of concerns. The way Dapper is different is that it's not an ORM, it's a micro ORM, which means that, interestingly, you still write SQL for it, which in some ways is very powerful. So essentially what happens with Dapper is it does some of the modeling for you. So it's part of the process, but because you write your own SQL, you get a little bit more control over what it's doing. But you don't have to write all of it. So for simple things, it just maps the object. So like getting an object by ID, you don't have to write any SQL for that. But you want to do something more complicated, you can write SQL for it. So that's what's interesting about it. Is it's kind of like, it's like a lightweight ORM. That's why they're called micro ORMs. They're not quite as big and serious and doing all the things for you, and they still let you get a little bit closer to the metal. So that's Dapper. I like it, and I can show you guys the syntax for it, and maybe we'll use it on one of our projects. Shout out at me, Async Awake. when we're starting up new projects, and I might look at using Dapper instead of Entity Framework on one. Okay, so we did get all chatters, and then we said attempt that 10 times. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Inside of the Twitch chat client, I am going to add in an LoggerAdapter of type Twitch chat client. I'm going to call it a logger. We're going to add this as a field. I'm then going to take this logger, and I am going to come down to our Twitch chat client connected. Yeah, that works. Log information. Which client connected? Twitch client connected. Kind of seems like useful information to have in there. And then disconnected. Whoops, I meant to do it down here. Twitch client disconnected. On disconnected. Wow, I should fix that name. But I'm not going to just yet. Getting all Twitch chatters. Returning all Twitch chatters. So now we're gonna, like, I mean, you'll sort of visually see how long that takes. The other thing I'm wondering about here is our Twitch API undocumented piece here. Get chatters async. Our try get is the interesting piece. Because of the way we built this, it's going to be tricky to get that logged, but there are some things we could do, but I'm not going to worry about them right now. Anything else we want to definitely get marked in here? Connected, command receive new subscriber. Yeah, let's do that. Subscriber handler. We'll give this an LoggerAdapter as well. This is a subscriber handler. Logger. Gonna add in the logger up here. And then I want to say this. Log information. I don't know why that would ever not be a Twitch chat client, but hey, why not? Chat client on new subscriber. Running this. Let's put that inside of there with string interpolation, then we're going to say name of, type, close. There we go, running that method. Not ideal, but it's at least something. We're getting a little bit of information here in our logging, so that is definitely an improvement, so discard that for now. And then we're going to add logging to our subscriber handler. You know what, I didn't check this. Let's just make sure neither one of these had anything that was calling its constructor explicitly. If they did, they're going to blow up here. bot's going to get kicked out so that we can make sure we really build. Build succeeded. Okay, I'm going to restart the bot so you guys can call commands on it again. And then we're going to do this. Subscriber handler. We're going to say adding logger to sub handler. And then adding logger to the Twitch chat client. There we go. Okay, so that's a little bit nicer. We've got more logging. I'm happy with this. Am I planning on using? Are you planning on only using your PC to run the bot, or do you have other ideas for that? So exclusive PR. So right now, the bot runs on my computer, and we've talked about some other possibilities for things. We could put the bot out on Azure, for example, or any other hosted service as it'll likely not be a console application. So we have plans to give a web front end to the bot, specifically because we want it to be able to put stuff on my screen here. So all this space that you see around me, all up around there, everything on the screen, we want to be able to have the bot put things there. So because of that, it needs a web front end of some kind. Now that could be something local, or that could be out on a website. The question then becomes, do we make it so that if you want to use the bot, that you run your own instance of this on a website somewhere? Or do we eventually set up a website that is like a hosted version, and you log in and like everybody's running the same bot, and you just then provide the website the information for what your bot account is, and it connects to Twitch for you? Both are options. The latter option I'm not a huge fan of, because then I got to deal with hosting costs for, you know, more bots than just mine, which if a lot of people started using it, could get expensive. Obviously for my bot, I'm not too worried about it because I don't run it enough for it to be a problem. The next problem then becomes, you know, we actually have to worry about securing it. So I'm not too worried about the bot right now, because I'm not saying that the bot's like super secure, but it's also not super risky, and I only have it running while I'm here, so that adds another little benefit. So, yeah, Malachi, exactly, bot as a service. So, either option is possible, and we're going to have to figure that one out, but we are planning on building a web interface for it. So if you take a look at our backlog, and as a lot of people know, everything we do on this channel is at github.com/devchatter. You will notice a couple of things that, well, first off, you'll actually notice this milestone. So you'll see web app and overlay is one of our big milestones in this project, and we're going to work on this tomorrow, actually. So we're going to have James Chambers on the channel tomorrow, and if James doesn't make it tomorrow, I'm going to drive, you know, for like 20-some hours to Canada and pull him out of his bakery and make him do a DevChatter episode with us, because I happen to know that you guys are all awesome and want to see James Chambers on the show again, and I'm not going to let him, you know, bake cookies and other delicious pastries all day long instead of being on here writing code with us. And yes, I'm not kidding, James Chambers and his wife own a bakery, and he's also a developer. And he also lives too far away for me to do that. I'm not going to drive that far, nor am I going to get a flight. So if he doesn't show up, I'll just be annoyed, and I will find some way of insulting him on the stream. So hopefully he'll be here tomorrow, and we'll write code together, and it won't be a fight. An internet fight. You guys will get a kick out of it. Okay, so we added in the logger here. Hilariously, we won't be able to test the subscription one for probably a while. I do usually get a subscription every once in a while, but it's not like I've got people subscribing all day long. So that's not one that triggers all that often. So bot's back in here. Does a couple of things. Getting all the Twitch chatters, returning all Twitch chatters, so that was pretty quick that time. Pops up with those. Twitch client connected. Yeah, I'm always hopeful that that undocumented Twitch API just works nicely, which it seems to have been today, so I am thrilled. So that was good. Okay, so where was I? I mentioned that we're going to have James Chambers on the show tomorrow. If you are someone who is here and is wondering, hey, what's going on tomorrow? the easy thing to do is to go on here. This is, interestingly, needing to be updated, so I'm going to do this. Edit. There we go. Today is the 14th, and we're going to say remove last week. Okay, so now, this week, we have, we're going to add logging to the chatbot. We just did that. And then tomorrow, we're going to do pair program with James Chambers. Now, we're going to work on what we kind of decide together we're going to work on, but I do want to do the web streams. I do want to do the web stuff on the stream if we can. The only challenge is I don't like... So we had to do a little bit of this with logging today. I don't like doing... So every once in a while I want to have streams where we go in and we figure out how to do stuff. Because I could go and I could spend time researching things and make sure that when we do a stream that we... already know how to do what we're doing, and we go in and we do that, which is good and fun. But that does not actually always help people so much. One of the things that I like that we do here is that I am willing to actually make mistakes on the stream, which I think in many ways is a good thing, because I want to share that with you guys, like how we do that, and I'm hoping that that helps everyone. So, I think if you talk to almost any developer, they'll talk to you about the idea of imposter syndrome, in that we all feel that a little bit. I think it actually helps people when I come on here and I show you guys stuff, and I show you that I am mortal, I am human, and I make mistakes. So I think it's actually a nice thing when everybody gets to see that. Janiscu, logging with chatbot. Yes, we have logging now, Janiscu. See? Info logging in the chatbot. Right now we're only doing console logging, but we are going to add some other logging. Thank you, Bane. Glad to hear it. Yeah, because the problem that we often see is, so I do like online training courses too, and I can tell you the reason my online training courses don't have mistakes in them is because I script them. And then I, it doesn't sound like I'm reading from a script because I'm pretty good about just talking, but then when I do discuss things, you'll notice I don't have any ums. You won't hear me doing things like swallowing, coughing. You won't hear like that many breaths. Because when I do a training course, I have the chance to edit it after the fact, and I clean all the audio up and everything. And if I mess up something when I'm typing, I just fix it, and then I edit out that little piece, and so as far as you can tell, it looks perfect. Why? Because it's an online recorded training video. And you don't want to see the mistakes in that, because I'm showing you a specific thing. But for the live stream, it's much more important that you guys see me actually make mistakes. So I could go and I could go write the code to do this beforehand, and I could go figure out logging, and I could spend a couple of hours and do that, and then undo my commits, and then hop on here and show you guys me building the thing that I'd already built once before, but that doesn't show you guys how development's done, and I don't think that helps. So that's why I do the stream the way I do. Yeah, seeing how I dig through errors, even just Googling for a problem, it's nice to see, that kind of stuff on stream, I think at least. But maybe I'm crazy. I just want to try to limit it. So that's why some people who've been here a lot have probably seen that, like, if I hit my head too long and I'm like, oh, this isn't working, I'll just put it on hold and move on to something else. So, because there's not really a reason to stick around too long. So, once something's not working, it's like either get it working or move on. So the stream must continue. But speaking of the stream continuing, I want to cover a couple of things real quickly. If you want to see when our stream is going to be live, check out our schedule using the schedule command. And all you have to do is tell it your UTC offset, and it will give it to you in your time zone. So I am at UTC -4 here in the eastern part of the United States. And that will get me my start time tomorrow as Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And if you, say, are in Germany, I believe they are at UTC +1. So you could do schedule 2. And then that will get you that my stream starts at 8 p.m. in Germany tomorrow, and also on Mondays. But it'll also tell you the other days on that. And if you are on Twitch right now, you can actually scroll down below the stream, and I'll show you where that is. So if you scroll right down to here, you will see this now live thing here. So if you scroll down there, you'll see that this is our usual time. We do Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 2 p.m. on Monday, Tuesday, noon on Thursday, and 1 p.m. on Saturday. So our time, I let it fluctuate a little bit because that makes it possible for more people to show up. I always make sure that there is a weekend stream because I know that some people can't show up during the week and some people can't show up during the weekend. So I have a bit of both, and I think it works out nicely. And yeah, other than that one, we're going to get James tomorrow, and I think I am going to wrap the stream here. I think we've been live for 2.5 hours. Yep, 2.5 hours. And usually my streams are 2 to 3 hours, somewhere in there. We find a good stopping point, which I think we're at a good spot. We've got our logging pretty nice, and I don't want to start anything new. But tomorrow, as I said, James Chambers and writing some ASP.NET code. We are going to use VS Live Share, so if you haven't seen VS Live Share, oh man, do you need to show up tomorrow and check out VS Live Share. It is fantastic because it actually lets us both edit in the same file at the same time. So think Google Docs, how they have that support for like multiple editing, but right inside Visual Studio. So he is going to be typing code right in here, and we're going to work on this stuff together. So it is going to be a blast. And other than that, yeah, I will see everyone tomorrow at about the same time. So 21.5 hours, everybody. That's all you got. 21.5 hours, and I will see you again. So don't worry. We're not going to be gone that long. We'll be right back. Try not to miss me too much. I know it's hard, but you'll get through it. I was just kidding. Love you guys. Take care. Have a good one. Happy coding, and enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll see you all on Tuesday.